So, apparently time permitted me to discuss on scientific theory. So, let's discuss scientific theory. So in a nutshell, physics is like this. So you have your elementary approach, where theory and experiment goes hand in hand. Di pwedeng mawala yung experiment or theory. Hindi na yung physics ng ganun. So what do we mean by the word elementary here? For example, if you've, naglab ba kayo ng high school? Naglab ba kayo ng high school? Or doon sa mga may physics 71.1, you'll see this important paradigm in your laboratory classes. What was done in your usual laboratory, in your usual elementary laboratory classes is this. You have an established theory. So you already have an established. This is established means that it's already been verified a lot of times. And that what you will do is to perform an experiment that will verify this theory. For example, you want to measure the acceleration due to gravity G. You want to measure the acceleration due to gravity G. What you have in your theory is an accepted value of the acceleration due to gravity. For example, 9.80665 yen. So this means that we already know this value. And then what we want to do is to perform an experiment that will give us this value here, as close as possible to this value, because what we want is an accurate measurement. In terms of your precision and accuracy, this is your true value. And what we want is this G here to have as close as possible to this. That's your elementary treatment. The principles and the theories are already been established well. And what you want in your experiment is to just to verify that these theories are true. Okay? Malinaw ba yon? That's the elementary approach in physics. That's usually what students do in their laboratory work. And if ever na mali man, na hindi makuha yung G na to, ano yung possible na nangyari dun sa experiment? So there are usual sources of error, for example. Okay? Okay? Are there any questions in this paradigm? For those who are taking laboratory classes, ganito yung treatment lagi dyan. You have your established theory, you verify that theory. Now, hindi ganon sa frontier sciences. So, for example, when we're doing, for example, research, hindi ganyan yung nangyayari usually sa physics. You have your phenomenological approach. Phenomenological meaning the experiment will verify which theory is correct. Ganito, for example, 100 years, it took us 100 years before we verified the existence of gravitational waves. And all we need is to have an experimental verification. In physics, experiment is very important because while we can create a lot of theories, only the experiment can verify or check whether these theories are correct or not. Yun yung ginagawa sa research. Kaya nag-research kasi we want to determine which among the theories. So, of course, number one, you formulate a theory. Usually madali yon. Pero of course, it's not necessarily easy because theoretical physics is difficult. So, but another frontier topic is to use your experimental techniques to check which among these theories are correct. Kaya parang kumbaga, may isang event na maraming explanation. Your theories are your explanations. And your experiment will check which among these explanations is the correct one. Is that clear? That's your usual. This is in the frontier sciences. Hindi lang naman sa physics to. The one that will verify the behavior is the one theory that will verify the behavior is the one that's correct. Clear ba yon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so on scientific theory, so we always say, I have a theory on that, diba? Makiririnig mo yun sa mga lay people, I have a theory on that. Maybe the theory on this particular reason is blah, blah, blah. But what makes a theory scientific? Okay, dyan papasok si Popper. Karl Popper is not a scientist, but rather a philosopher of science. So in the early 20th century, he has issues on these two social sciences, psychoanalysis by Sigmund Freud and your Marxist theories. I won't discuss anymore on our Marxist theories kasi baka may ma-trigger ako dito. Pero it was Popper who said these ideas. Psychoanalysis, ganito kasi issue niya. For example, meron kang isang individual na medyo may konting mentally challenged. So psychoanalysis will say na, okay, he has an explanation. That theory has an explanation on every science, on every illness. Ganito lang nangyari dyan sa particular na person. And it always applies to any particular individual. Ganun siya kagaling. Ngayon, ang tanong dito is, wala bang scope and limitations tong theory na to? Wala bang scope and limitations? There's an issue in scope. And Karl Popper is not confident, or is not, he doesn't like that. Na yung isang particular scientific theory, kung scientific man siya, ay walang scope and limitation. Because it can be applied to every psychological issue. Diba? That's the problema yan. Okay, so parang lahat na lang kaya i-explain ng psychoanalysis. Okay, so that's an issue. Now, he thought that these are not scientific theories. Even Marxist theory is not scientific. Because what we will see here is that science should be fundamentally about falsifying rather than confirming theories. Alin dito yung may capability na maging mali? Or alin dito hanggang saan lang possible or plausible yung theory na yan? That's what's known as falsificationism. It's all about falsifying rather than confirming. Madali mag-confirm. Ang tanong, hanggang saan limited yung analysis na yun? And those who have been tested, those theories have been tested in time, are the strongest ones. Yung mga kaya mong i-verify, kaya mong i-predict, yung kaya mong i-test, yung mga theories na yon, these theories are the strongest. And dapat may capability ang isa pang experiment, for example, to confirm that particular theory, to test that particular theory. Okay? Questions? So, ibig sabihin, ang isang teorya ay dapat, scientific theory ang isang teorya kung may capability siyang maging mali, hindi maging tama. Of course, pangit ang teorya na puro mali. Pero dapat may capability na hindi ma-apply or hindi may capability na magkamali ang isang theory. May capability na i-test yung theory na yan para masabi mo na scientific theory yan. Hence, we have the so-called survival of the fittest in these theories. Only those theories that can survive different tests are the ones that are strong, are the ones that are the true scientific. Okay? And hence, we have a scientific theory is the one that is falsifiable. It means may capability na magkamali. Testable, it means that you can test it using different approaches. And refutable, pwedeng ma-refute. Okay? If there is no way that this scientific theory, this theory can be refuted, it's then unscientific. Okay? O sige. Medyo controversial to. But for example, sino ditong medyo reverent or medyo mahilig magdasal? Di ba? The statement here, God is good. Okay. Is this a scientific theory? No. Why?
No.
No. Ganito kasi. For example, if you explain this, for example, to di ko sinasabing mali yan, ha? I will not comment on whether it is correct or not. Di naman ako atheist. Pero let's leave it to the evangelicals and the religious people to say it's whether correct or not. What I will say only is that this sentence here is unscientific. Because kahit anong refute mo dyan, hindi mo yung re-refute yan. Kasi, for example, hindi binigay yung wish mo, sasabihin ng mga religious people, you just wait because maybe God has other plans for you. Diba? So, kahit anong way mo, hindi mo ma-refute ang statement na yan. So, therefore, this statement is unscientific based on Popper's theory of falsificationism. Okay? Again, hindi ko sinasabing mali yan. Sinasabi ko lang, hindi yan scientific. Okay? Is that clear? Malinaw ba yung analogy na to?
Yes, sir.
Okay? So, yan. So, that, so here's some references and further reading on ideas. And when you go to Nature of Scientific Inquiry, just read Ladyman or Hopkins because these are ideas on philosophy of science. And then on measurements, I've given to you some ideas from our Physics 101.1 or 106.1 laboratory manual. Also, Taylor has a good, it's a good book on measurements and error analysis, but I won't discuss error analysis anymore here. Wala tayong oras. And then the redefinition of SI units, there are a lot of articles there. National Geographic has a good article on that. NIST also has a good introduction on that. And of course, yung picture sa first page, PowerPoint lang yan. Okay. Stock image sa PowerPoint yan. So, are there any questions so far for this class? Oh, overtime na tayo.
None.
None. So, if there are no more questions, wait, mali pala yun. Okay, so if there are no more questions, yeah, if there are no more questions, those who have watched the series of videos for this lecture 1, thank you very much for attending and have a nice weekend to all. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you
po.